1937, Florida, a small town. Aretha Robinson handed an axe to her 8-year-old blind son. "Chop wood," she said. Neighbors were horrified. The church condemned her. The town called her cruel. "She's going to kill that boy," they said. Aretha didn't care, because she knew something nobody else did. The real cruelty would be leaving him helpless, and for Ray Charles to change the world, he first had to learn to survive it. Let me take you back to where it started. 1935, Greenville, Florida. Ray Charles Robinson was 5 years old, and something was wrong with his eyes. At first, it was just blurry vision. Colors looked faded. Faces weren't as clear. His mother, Aretha, noticed immediately. She took him to the only doctor in their small black community, a white doctor who barely looked at Ray before making his diagnosis. "Glaucoma," he said. "Progressive, untreatable." Aretha's voice was steady. "What does that mean?" The doctor didn't sugarcoat it. "It means your boy is going blind. Probably completely, within a year or two." The room went silent. Aretha held Ray's hand, tight, but she didn't cry. Not in front of the doctor, not in front of Ray. She thanked him, paid what little she could, and walked her son home. That night, Ray heard something he'd never heard before, his mother crying. The blindness came slowly. Over 2 years, Ray watched the world fade away. First, the edges of his vision darkened, like someone was slowly closing curtains. Then colors disappeared. Everything became gray, then darker gray. By age 6, he could only see shapes, shadows, light and dark. By age 7, in 1937, the world went completely black, total darkness, forever. Ray screamed when it happened. "Mama, Mama, I can't see nothing. Turn on the light." Aretha rushed to him, held him, let him cry into her chest. "The light is on, baby," she whispered. "The light is on." That's when Ray understood. He would never see again. In 1937, rural Florida, being blind meant one thing: dependency. Blind people couldn't work, couldn't provide for themselves, couldn't live independently. They became beggars, or they lived in institutions, or they relied on family to do everything for them. That was just the way it was. Everyone in Greenville expected Aretha to accept this reality. They expected her to do everything for Ray. Feed him, dress him, guide him everywhere. They expected her to protect him from every danger, every obstacle, every difficulty. That's what a good mother does for a disabled child, right? Aretha Robinson disagreed, completely, and what she did instead shocked everyone. It started small. One morning, a few weeks after Ray went completely blind, Aretha called him from across the room. "Raymond, come here." Ray stood up from his chair, started walking toward his mother's voice. He made it 3 steps before he crashed into the kitchen table. Pain shot through his hip. He fell to the floor. "Mama, help me." Aretha didn't move. Ray lay on the floor, crying, waiting for his mother to pick him up, comfort him, help him. She didn't. "Get up," she said. Her voice was firm. Not angry, not mean, just firm. "Mama, please, get up, Raymond, and try again." Ray couldn't believe it. His mother, who had always rushed to help him, was standing there, doing nothing. He pulled himself up, started walking again. This time he made it 5 steps before running into a chair. Again he fell. Again he cried. Again Aretha didn't help. "Learn where the furniture is, Raymond. Feel it. Remember it. The room isn't going to change. You need to learn it." By the window, their neighbor Mrs. Thompson watched this scene unfold. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. That evening she told everyone in town, "Aretha Robinson is letting that blind boy hurt himself. Just standing there while he crashes into things. It's abuse." The next day, several women from the church came to Aretha's house. "Sister Robinson," one of them said carefully, "we're concerned about how you're handling Raymond's situation." Aretha looked at them calmly. "What situation?" "His blindness, sister. We think you might need help. We could take turns coming by, helping the boy get around, making sure he doesn't hurt himself." "No, thank you." The women exchanged glances. "Aretha, the child is blind. He needs to learn," Aretha interrupted. "He needs to learn to live in a world that won't always help him. But he's just a boy, a disabled boy." Aretha's voice became steel. "My son is not disabled. He's blind. That's different. His body works. His mind works. The only thing that doesn't work is his eyes, and he doesn't need eyes to live." The church women were shocked into silence. One of them tried again. "Sister, We're just trying to— I know what you're trying to do, Aretha said. You're trying to make him comfortable. You're trying to make him dependent. You're trying to teach him that being blind means being helpless. She stood taller. I won't do that to my son. I love him too much. The women left, shaking their heads. Behind them, they heard Ray crash into furniture again, and his mother, not helping. Over the next few weeks, the criticism grew. At church, people whispered. At the market, people stared. Neighbors watched through windows as 7-year-old blind Ray stumbled, fell, and struggled, always with Aretha nearby, never helping. It's cruel, they said. It's wrong, they said. Someone should do something, they said. But nobody did, because despite the criticism, something interesting was happening. Ray was learning. After 2 weeks, he could navigate the entire house without hitting anything. He'd memorized every piece of furniture, every doorway, every step. His hands learned to trail walls. His feet learned to feel floor transitions. He moved through the house like he could see it, because in a way he could, just not with his eyes. He saw it with his memory, with his sense of space, with his touch. Aretha watched this transformation with quiet pride, but she didn't stop there. Winter came to Florida. It got cold at night. They needed firewood for the stove. One morning, Aretha led 8-year-old Ray out to the woodpile. She put an axe in his hands. I need you to chop wood, she said. Ray froze. Mama, I can't see the wood. You can feel it. You can hear it. But the axe, I could hurt myself. Yes, you could. So be careful. Nearby, their neighbor Mr. Johnson heard this conversation. He came running over. Aretha, what in God's name are you doing? You're giving a blind child an axe? I'm teaching my son to work. He'll kill himself. No, he'll learn, or he'll starve when I'm not here to help him. Mr. Johnson looked at Aretha like she'd lost her mind. This is madness. I'm reporting this to report it to whoever you want, Aretha said calmly. My son needs to learn to survive. Nobody's going to do that for him. Mr. Johnson stormed off. Aretha turned back to Ray. Feel the log, she said, guiding his hands. Feel the grain. That's where it'll split easiest. Ray's hands trembled as he felt the wood. Now lift the axe, not too high. You don't need power, you need accuracy. Ray lifted the axe. His arms shook. Listen for the wood. When you swing down, listen for where the axe hits. The sound will tell you everything. Ray swung. He missed the log completely. The axe hit dirt. Again. He missed again, again, and again. On the 7th try, the axe hit wood. Not a clean split, but contact. Ray almost smiled. Again, Aretha said. By the end of the day, 8-year-old blind Ray had chopped his first piece of firewood. His hands were blistered. His arms ached. He was exhausted, but he'd done it. And Aretha, she watched with tears. She didn't let him see, because she knew something the neighbors didn't understand. She was dying. Aretha Robinson had liver disease. The doctors gave her 5 years. Maybe. She knew she wouldn't see Ray grow up. So she had to prepare him for a world without her. A world that wouldn't help him, a world that would demand he help himself, and she had 5 years to teach him how, no matter what people called her, no matter how cruel it looked, because the real cruelty would be leaving him unable to survive. Aretha Robinson had a secret she never told Ray. She was dying. The same doctor who diagnosed Ray's glaucoma had diagnosed her liver disease. How long, she'd asked. 5 years, maybe 6 if you're lucky. Maybe 3 if you're not. That was in 1937. Ray was 7 years old, completely blind, completely dependent. Aretha did the math. She had 5 years to teach her son everything he'd need to survive without her. 5 years to make him independent. 5 years to prepare him for a world that wouldn't care that he was blind. So she started teaching, and she didn't care what anyone thought. The wood chopping became routine. Every day, Ray went outside and chopped firewood. At first, he missed more than he hit. His accuracy was terrible, but Aretha didn't accept excuses. Again. After 3 months, Ray could split a log in 3 swings. After 6 months, he could do it in 1. The neighbors stopped watching. It was too uncomfortable, but Ray was getting stronger. More confident, more capable. Next lesson, water. Their house didn't have running water. Nobody's did in that part of Greenville. Water came from a well, 200 yards from their house. You had to walk there with a bucket, fill it, walk back without spilling. For most people, this was simple. For a blind 8-year-old, it seemed impossible. Aretha didn't think so. Raymond, we need water. Go to the well. Ray's face showed fear. Mama, I don't know the way. Then learn it. But how will I find it? The same way you found the furniture. The same way you found the woodpile. Count your steps. Feel the path. Listen for the well. Ray stood frozen. Go, Aretha said. Not unkindly, but firmly. Ray took a hesitant step forward. Then another. Then he walked into a tree. Mrs. Thompson, watching from her porch, shook her head. That woman has lost her mind. But Aretha stood on their porch, watching, waiting. Ray got up, kept walking. He walked into another tree, got up, kept walking. It took him 45 minutes to reach the well that first day, a journey that should have taken 3 minutes. When he finally found it, by hearing the echo of his footsteps change near the stone structure, he almost cried with relief. Then he had to fill the bucket, then carry it back, without spilling, without seeing. He spilled most of it on the first trip. Again, Aretha said, when he returned with a half-empty bucket. Ray went again, and again. By the end of the week, Ray could make the journey in 5 minutes. Bucket full. Another impossibility conquered. You're cooking. Ray was 9 years old now, still completely blind. Mama, the stove, I could burn myself. Yes, so be careful. Aretha led him to the kitchen. Put his hands on the stove. This is the burner. When it's hot, you'll feel the heat before you touch it. Trust that feeling. She showed him where everything was. The pots, the spoons, the beans, the rice. Feel everything first. Organize it in your mind. Then cook. Ray's hands shook as he lit the stove with Aretha's help. At first, he burned himself twice that first day. Small burns. Not serious, but painful. Mrs. Thompson heard Ray cry out. She came running to the door. Aretha, the boy burned himself. I know, he's learning. Learning. He's suffering. Aretha looked at her neighbor with tired eyes. He'll suffer more if I baby him now and he can't feed himself when I'm gone. Gone. Where are you going? Aretha didn't answer. Mrs. Thompson left, muttering about reporting this to authorities. But Ray kept cooking, and the burns became less frequent. His movements became more confident. He learned to feel heat, to hear bubbling water, to smell when food was ready. After 3 months, 9-year-old blind Ray could cook a complete meal by himself. Best lesson: navigation, not just around the house, around town. Raymond, go to Mr. Peterson's store. Buy a pound of sugar. Here's the money. Ray stared in the direction of his mother's voice. Mama, that's 6 blocks away. 5 blocks. Count your steps. But the roads, there are cars. Listen for them. Stop when you hear them coming. This time, even Mr. Johnson came to intervene. Aretha, this is too far. Let me walk the boy. No, but he needs to learn to do it alone. Mr. Johnson threw his hands up. You're going to get that boy killed. Aretha's voice was quiet, but firm. I'm going to teach that boy to live. Ray stood on the porch, terrified. But his mother's voice came from behind him. You can do this, Raymond. You've learned everything else. You can learn this too. Ray took a step forward, then another. The first trip took him 2 hours. He got lost 3 times. A kind stranger helped him twice. But he made it to Mr. Peterson's store, bought the sugar, and made it home. Aretha was waiting on the porch. How was it, she asked. Ray was sweating, exhausted, but there was something new in his voice. Pride. I did it, Mama. I know you did. Over the next 2 years, the lessons continued. Washing clothes. Blind. Sewing buttons. Blind. Cleaning the house. Blind. Managing money. Blind. Everything a person needed to live independently. Aretha taught Ray to do without sight, and every lesson looked like cruelty to the neighbors. But Ray was transforming. By age 10, He could do things fully sighted kids couldn't do. He could identify people by their footsteps. He could navigate town better than many adults. He could cook, clean, and care for himself completely. He wasn't helpless. He wasn't a burden. He was capable. And Aretha watched this transformation with a breaking heart because she knew her time was running out. 1941, Ray turned 11. Aretha made a decision that would break both their hearts. She enrolled Ray in the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, St. Augustine, 160 miles away. When she told him, Ray cried, "Mama, no, don't send me away. Raymond, you need to learn music properly. You need education. I can't give you that here, but I need you." Aretha held her son, let him cry into her chest, but her decision was made. A week later, they took the bus to St. Augustine. When they arrived at the school, Ray clung to his mother. "Please don't leave me here." Aretha's heart shattered, but her voice stayed steady. "Raymond, listen to me. You've learned to live without seeing. Now you need to learn to live without me. But I won't always be here, babe. You need to be ready for that." Ray didn't understand what she meant. He was 11. He thought his mother would live forever. Aretha kissed his forehead, turned away, and walked out the door. She didn't look back. If she had, she would have run back, held him, taken him home, and that would have destroyed him. So she walked away, and Ray Charles learned the hardest lesson of all: how to survive without his mother. At the school, Ray struggled at first. He missed home, missed his mother, cried himself to sleep. But then he remembered something. His mother had prepared him for this. All those lessons, all that cruelty, all that forcing him to be independent. She wasn't being mean. She was preparing him for this moment, for a life without her. Ray stopped crying. He started learning music, braille, composition, arrangement. He threw himself into everything, because his mother had taught him the most important lesson of all. Nobody was going to do it for him. He had to do it himself. Every summer, Ray came home to Greenville, and every summer, he noticed something. His mother was getting thinner, weaker, slower. But she never complained. She never told him she was sick. She just kept asking, "What did you learn, Raymond? Show me." And Ray would show her how he could read music in braille, how he could play piano, how he could arrange for multiple instruments. Aretha would smile. "Good. Keep learning." Summer 1945. Ray was 15. He came home for what would be his last summer with his mother. Aretha was very sick now, too sick to hide it. Ray heard it in her breathing, in her movements. "Mama, what's wrong?" "Nothing, baby. Just tired." But it wasn't nothing. 3 weeks later, Aretha Robinson collapsed. The doctor came to their house, the same doctor who diagnosed Ray's blindness 8 years earlier. "How long?" Ray asked from outside the room. "Days," the doctor said. "Maybe a week." Ray's world stopped. His mother, the woman who'd taught him everything, was dying, and there was nothing he could do except prove to her that her lessons had worked, that he could survive, even without her. Ray Charles Robinson was 15 years old when his mother died. He sat by her bedside in their small Greenville house. Aretha's breathing was shallow, weak. Each breath sounded like it might be her last. Ray held her hand. He couldn't see her face, but he didn't need to. He could feel everything in that hand. The weakness, the trembling, the goodbye. "Mama," he whispered, "I'm here." Aretha's fingers squeezed his. Barely. She tried to speak. Her voice was so faint, Ray had to lean close. "Raymond." "Yes, Mama. You're ready." Ray didn't understand. Ready for what? Aretha took a painful breath. "To live without me." Ray's throat closed. "Mama, don't." "Listen," she interrupted. Her voice gained a tiny bit of strength. Everything I taught you, everything people called cruel, I did it because I love you." Tears ran down Ray's face. "I know you thought I was mean sometimes," Aretha continued, "making you chop wood, making you carry water, making you learn everything the hard way. Mama, I never—" "Yes, you did. I heard you cry. I heard you ask why I wouldn't help." Her hand squeezed his harder. "I didn't help because real help isn't doing things for someone. Real help is teaching them to do it themselves." Ray was sobbing now. "The world won't care that you're blind, baby. The world won't help you. The world will say you can't. You're going to have to prove them wrong. And you can't do that if you can't survive on your own." She coughed. "Painful. Wet. Promise me, Raymond. Promise me you'll never let anyone make you helpless. Promise me you'll never use your blindness as an excuse. I promise, Mama. Promise me you'll show them what I already know." "What's that, Mama?" Aretha's last words were clear, strong, final, that you can do anything. 3 hours later, Aretha Robinson died. She was 31 years old. The funeral was small. Church members came. Neighbors came. The same neighbors who'd called Aretha cruel. The same church ladies who'd tried to intervene. They cried. They prayed. They said nice things. But Ray noticed something. After the service, Mrs. Thompson approached him. "Raymond, baby, you'll come stay with us now. We'll take care of you." Mr. Johnson nodded. "You can't live alone, son. You're blind. You need family." Other voices joined in. "We'll help you. You can't manage by yourself. Poor boy all alone." Ray stood there, listening, and he remembered his mother's last words. "Promise me you'll never let anyone make you helpless." Ray took a breath. "Thank you," he said, "but I'll be fine on my own." The adults looked at each other. "Raymond, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly." Ray interrupted. "My mother spent 8 years teaching me how to live without her. I'm not going to waste that now." Mrs. Thompson's voice was gentle, but firm. "Baby, you're only 15. You can't. I can chop wood. I can cook. I can clean. I can navigate town. I can manage money. I can do everything I need to do." Silence. "My mother made sure of that," Ray continued. "Everyone thought she was cruel, but she was preparing me, and I'm not going to prove her wrong by becoming helpless now." He turned toward the door, perfectly oriented despite not seeing. "I'll be fine. Thank you for the offer." And Ray Charles Robinson walked out of that church alone, but not helpless. Never helpless. The first few weeks were hard. Ray was alone in the house where his mother died. He cooked his own meals, chopped his own wood, carried his own water, everything his mother taught him. Neighbors watched through windows, waiting for him to fail, waiting to say, "I told you so." He didn't fail. Every morning he woke up, made breakfast, did chores. Every evening he cooked dinner, cleaned up, went to bed, by himself. 15 years old, blind, orphaned, surviving. Mrs. Thompson finally came over after 3 weeks. "Raymond, I have to admit, I was wrong about your mother." Ray stopped chopping wood. "How so?" "I thought she was being cruel, making you do all these things, not helping you. And now?" Mrs. Thompson's voice broke. "Now I see she was the smartest woman I ever knew. She knew she was dying, didn't she?" Ray nodded. "And she spent every day preparing you, while we all judged her, called her mean, called her heartless." Mrs. Thompson started crying. "She loved you more than any of us understood. She loved you enough to let you struggle, to let you fail, to let you learn." Ray's voice was quiet. "Yes, ma'am, she did. I'm sorry, Raymond. We should have trusted her." "It's okay, Mrs. Thompson. She didn't need you to understand. She just needed me to be ready. And are you?" Ray swung the axe, split the log perfectly in one strike. "Yes, ma'am. I'm ready." 1948. 3 years after his mother's death, 18-year-old Ray Charles left Greenville forever. He had one suitcase, and every lesson his mother taught him. He took a bus to Seattle, Washington, alone, 3,000 miles from home, in a city he'd never seen, where he knew nobody. Most people would have called it insane, but Ray was ready, because his mother had taught him something the world didn't understand. Blindness wasn't a disability. It was just a different way of seeing, and independence wasn't given. It was taught. In Seattle, Ray survived, thrived, built a career. When obstacles came, he remembered, you can chop wood. When people doubted him, he remembered, you can carry water. When they said he couldn't do something, he remembered, you can do anything. His mother's voice, always there, always guiding, not helping, guiding. 1954, Ray Charles had his first hit record. I Got a Woman went to #1. In interviews, reporters asked about his blindness. How do you manage? They'd ask. Ray's answer was always the same. My mother taught me I could do anything, and I believed her. 1955, Ray formed his own orchestra. Music executives said, a blind man can't conduct. Ray proved them wrong, because his mother had taught him, impossible is just a word. 1960, Georgia, On My Mind won a Grammy. During his acceptance speech, Ray said something that made people cry. This award belongs to my mother, Aretha Robinson. Everyone thought she was cruel, but she loved me enough to make me strong. The years passed. Ray's career exploded. 17 Grammys, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Presidential Medal of Freedom, $100 million earned over his lifetime. And through it all, in every interview, Ray talked about his mother. People ask me how I overcame blindness. He'd say, I tell them I didn't overcome it. My mother taught me I didn't need to. She taught me that blindness was just a fact, not a limitation. She refused to baby me, refused to make me dependent, refused to let me use my blindness as an excuse. Everyone called her cruel. I call her the greatest gift of my life. 2003. Ray Charles was 73 years old. He did his last major television interview. The interviewer asked, your mother was very tough on you. Do you resent that? Ray smiled. That famous Ray Charles smile. Resent it? It's the reason I'm sitting here. Can you explain? My mother knew something most people don't understand. Love isn't doing everything for someone. Love is teaching them to do it for themselves. He leaned forward. She knew she was dying. She knew I'd be alone. She had a choice. Make my childhood easy, or make my life possible. She chose my life. The interviewer was quiet. People thought she was cruel. Ray continued, making a blind child chop wood, making him carry water, making him navigate alone. But you know what would have been cruel? Leaving me helpless. Leaving me believing I couldn't survive without someone doing everything for me. His voice got stronger. My mother gave me the greatest gift any parent can give. Independence. The knowledge that I could survive, that I could thrive, that I could do anything. She didn't leave me with money. She didn't leave me with connections. She left me with something better. She left me with myself. June 10, 2004. Ray Charles died. Exactly 59 years after his mother. To the day, thousands attended his funeral. Presidents, musicians, celebrities. But one person's words stood out. A teacher from the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind. Ray Charles changed how we teach blind children. She said, before Ray, we did everything for them. We made them comfortable. We protected them. After Ray, we understood. Real kindness is teaching independence. Real love is preparation, not protection. Aretha Robinson was 50 years ahead of her time. We thought she was cruel. She was revolutionary. Today, Aretha Robinson's methods are taught worldwide. Tough love, independence training, capability over comfort. What the world called cruelty in 1937, we call best practice in 20. Because Aretha Robinson understood something profound. The cruelest thing you can do to someone isn't making them struggle, it's making them believe they can.
She didn't raise a blind child. She raised a capable man. She didn't teach him to accept limitation. She taught him to reject it. She didn't make his life easy. She made his life possible. People called her the cruel mother. Ray Charles called her the reason he became the genius. And 70 years later, we finally understand. She wasn't cruel. She was right.